They called you mature for your age, didn't they? Said you were so helpful, so easy to be around. But what they really meant was, thank you for not having needs. And so, little by little, you became a mirror, reflecting what others wanted, absorbing their emotions and hiding your own. Now you feel lost, and the world has the nerve to ask why. Here's the truth they never told you. You were never meant to be a mirror. That was survival. That was an adaptation. But it's not your identity. And if you keep living like this, agreeable, invisible, emotionally exhausted, you'll spend your whole life being everything for everyone and nothing for yourself. That's not kindness. That's self-erasure. This video is not here to flatter you. It's here to wake you up. Because the moment you stop chasing approval and start speaking your truth, everything begins to shift. Relationships change. Energy shifts. Clarity rises. And for the first time, you show up in your own life, ready to find out who you are without the mirror. You've probably been praised your whole life for being easy to get along with. You're the peacemaker, the listener, the one who knows how to read a room better than most people read a book. But here's the thing, mirrors are made to reflect, not to be seen. And that's what you became. A reflection of everyone else's needs, moods, and expectations. Meanwhile, the real you quietly disappeared behind the glass. Subtle, isn't it? You didn't wake up one day and say, I'll give up my identity today. No, it happened slowly, through the constant message that being good meant being agreeable, and being agreeable meant being invisible. You smiled when it hurt, nodded when you disagreed, and dimmed your light just to make others comfortable. You weren't weak, you were surviving the only way you knew how. You became everyone's emotional mirror, reflecting their chaos, calming their storms. You learned to absorb emotions like a sponge but never wring yourself out. And over time, you started to confuse reflection with connection. But people weren't really connecting with you, they were connecting with how you made them feel. That's why you can be surrounded by people and still feel completely unseen. It's a strange kind of loneliness, isn't it? To be useful but unknown. To be praised for qualities that cost you your voice. You're not broken, you were trained to vanish. But every time you edited your truth to protect someone else's comfort, a piece of your identity went silent. And now, maybe you're wondering where that silence ends. And where you begin. Let me tell you something no one ever told you growing up. You're not here to be a mirror. You're here to be a light. Mirrors reflect what already exists, but light reveals what's hidden. And the moment you stop living in reaction to others is the moment you begin shining from within. It won't happen all at once. But the shift begins the second you realize you've been performing instead of living. You can feel it, can't you? That quiet tug inside you that says, there's more to me than this. That voice is right, and it's been right all along. But to hear it clearly, you'll need to trace the roots of this pattern. And if you look back far enough, you'll likely find it didn't start with you. When you were a child, being good wasn't just a compliment, it became a rule. You were told you were so mature for your age, so helpful, so well-behaved. And yes, those words felt like love. But underneath them was an invisible contract. Keep everyone else comfortable, and you'll be safe. That's how the conditioning began. Slowly, approval became your compass, and your emotions, they became liabilities. You learned to smile when you were sad, to say, I'm okay, when you weren't. Maybe your home was unpredictable, or emotions weren't welcome at the dinner table. So you adjusted. You stayed quiet. You learned that being low maintenance meant being lovable. But here's the dangerous part, you didn't just hide your feelings from others. Eventually, you started hiding them from yourself too. That's how you became a mirror. You got so good at reflecting what others needed that you forgot how to recognize your own needs. Somewhere along the line, your worth got tied to how useful you were, how needed you felt. And when you weren't being needed, you felt invisible. That's not just exhausting, it's soul-crushing. Because being needed isn't the same as being known. This pattern doesn't just vanish in adulthood. You might still find yourself defaulting to roles, caretaker, peacemaker, problem solver. You offer emotional labor before anyone asks. You downplay your desires to keep the peace. But peace without authenticity isn't peace. It's suppression. And if you've ever felt a quiet resentment growing inside you, that's not you being selfish. That's your truth asking to be heard. Try this. Next time someone asks how you are, pause before answering. Notice your instinct. Is it to make them feel better or to tell the truth? These tiny moments matter more than you think. They're micro decisions where you either choose reflection or self-expression. You don't have to go full rebel, but you do have to start noticing when you disappear, because the self doesn't die all at once. It fades. It fades through 1,000 small moments of silence, of pretending, of swallowing words you were never meant to hold in. But here's the good news. The fading is reversible. And the first step is recognizing the cost of staying a mirror. Let's get honest. Living as a mirror might look functional on the outside, but it leaves you feeling hollow on the inside. You can be surrounded by people who love you, yet none of them really know you. Why? Because they've only ever met their own reflection. You were never invited to the party, only the version of you that made them feel safe, supported, and seen. Meanwhile, you vanished quietly in plain sight. There's a loneliness that hits different when you realize you've built connections by erasing yourself. You give, and everyone praises your strength, while inside you're screaming. And what's worse, you've become so fluent in their language that you've forgotten your own. You don't even know what you want anymore, because your entire identity has been shaped around meeting others' needs first. This isn't just emotional, it's physical. Constantly absorbing other people's feelings, monitoring their moods, and adjusting your energy to match theirs? That drains your nervous system. You're tired and you don't know why. You sleep but don't rest. You spend time with people but feel more alone than ever. That's not in your head. It's the price of self-abandonment. And it adds up. You've probably noticed it in your relationships too. You keep attracting people who need you but never truly see you. They love your care, your empathy, your support, but they don't ask about your dreams. Your voice feels like background noise in your own life. That's not love. That's a role. And roles are exhausting when they become your entire personality. At some point, you stop dreaming. Not because you don't have desires, but because you've spent years suppressing them. You've confused flexibility with identity. You've gotten so used to adapting that now, stillness feels uncomfortable. But discomfort isn't a red flag. It's a signal that something real is trying to come back online. Something you lost, but never truly left behind. The good news? You don't have to stay here. You don't have to keep playing the mirror. There's another way to live. One where you stop bending yourself for others and start standing in your own light. It begins with a single moment of truth. A moment where you stop performing and start reclaiming your voice. There comes a moment, quiet but undeniable, when you realize this mirror life isn't working anymore. You're done twisting yourself into shapes that no longer fit. Done pretending that being agreeable is the same as being authentic. That's not rebellion, that's awakening. The moment you get tired enough of being invisible is the moment your true self starts knocking. And once that door opens, you can't unsee what you've seen. Let's be real, it's not easy to stop prioritizing likability. You've spent your whole life being praised for how well you blend in. But fitting in is not the same as belonging. Belonging requires truth, and truth comes with risk. People might not clap for you when you stop performing. Some might even walk away. But let them. If your truth costs you shallow connection, you've made a good trade. You will be misunderstood. That's part of the deal. But being misunderstood for being real is far better than being celebrated for being a lie. Every time you silence yourself to keep the peace, you create a war inside your own body. And the longer you do it, the harder it becomes to remember who you were before the performance started. But don't worry, your soul hasn't forgotten. It's just waiting for you to stop apologizing for existing. Discomfort is the birthplace of your voice. Let yourself shake. Let your hands sweat. Say the thing anyway. Take the step even if no one else claps. That's how you become light. Not by being loud or perfect, but by being true. The world doesn't need more polished mirrors. It needs people brave enough to be seen. People like you, choosing courage over comfort, one conversation at a time. You don't need to announce your transformation to the world. Start small. Speak up when you usually stay silent. Set one boundary with someone who expects you to say yes. Write down one thing you believe even if no one else agrees. These aren't small steps. They're seismic shifts. Every time you show up for your truth, you send a message to your nervous system, I'm safe now. And little by little, that message becomes your new baseline. Not fear, not performance, but presence. And as you step into that space, something wild happens. You stop being a mirror and start being a light. A light that doesn't adapt, but reveals. And when you begin to reveal yourself fully, you step into the sacred space of self-reclamation. So now you're here, no longer just surviving, but slowly remembering who you are beyond the roles, the masks, the mirror. Reclaiming yourself doesn't mean becoming someone new. It means coming home to your thoughts, your voice, your real wants and weird quirks. And that starts with honesty. Not the kind you perform for others, but the kind you whisper to yourself when no one's watching. Ask yourself questions you've been avoiding. What do I actually believe? What makes me feel alive? What have I been pretending not to care about? You might not have the answers right away, and that's okay. The point isn't to be perfect, it's to be present. To listen inward without judgment. And trust that the version of you buried underneath it all is still in there, waiting to be heard. You don't have to clean it up to claim it. You get to be messy, loud, sensitive, contradictory. That's called being human, not broken. Give yourself permission to feel it all, without needing to explain it to anyone. Reclaiming yourself isn't a straight line. It's a spiral. Some days you'll feel clear, others you'll feel lost. But as long as you're being honest, you're on the right path. Stop auditioning for people who only love the polished version of you. If someone can't handle your depth, your needs, your shadow, and your light, they're not your people. Your job isn't to be digestible. It's to be whole. Choose spaces where your truth doesn't feel like a burden. Surround yourself with people who say, I see you. Not just, you're so helpful. Reclaiming the self means refusing to perform at your own expense. It means saying, actually, I don't agree, or I need space right now, or simply, no, these aren't rude, they're sacred. They're proof that your identity is no longer up for negotiation. And with each boundary, with each moment of self-honesty, you write a new internal script, one that finally sounds like you. This is how you stop living as a mirror and start living as your whole radiant self. Not perfect, not always understood, but finally seen. And when you live like that, something shifts, not just inside you, but all around you. Because when one person chooses truth over reflection, it gives others permission to do the same. You've been living as a mirror for so long that being yourself might feel like rebellion. But maybe that's exactly what you need, a gentle revolution from within. So now I ask you, what truth have you been swallowing just to stay liked? What part of yourself have you been hiding to keep the peace? And more importantly, how much longer are you willing to wait to finally be seen? This isn't just about healing. It's about reclaiming your space in the world. Not as a reflection of others, but as a whole, complex, brilliant human being. So I challenge you today, say something out loud that you've been keeping inside. Set one boundary. Ask one honest question. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. If this message hit home, don't let it fade. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and stay close. This space is for people like you, ready to stop performing and start living. And if you're feeling that tug in your chest right now, that's your soul waking up. Honor it. And don't stop here. Watch the next video. It's going to take everything you've just felt and help you put it into real action. This is just the beginning.